Well, good afternoon, boys and girls. I remember that I forgot to include something in the very first chapter we read, and that was a brief commentary on what the author, Mr. Willink, was teaching you there. And that's a way to memorize things which is a lot less painful. And I think if you go back and look at that chapter again, you will see that the next time you're called on to memorize something for school or something else, that technique, trailblazing, is a very, very good way to do it. Okay? All right. Well, for today's chapter, which is chapter 24, we're going to be reading about Super Aquaman. And Mark starts off, "Today I learned something that I will never ever forget. Today I learned about fear and how to beat it. Ever since I swam across the river on my own, swimming has gotten easier and easier. Uncle Jake has still been taking me to the river every other day, and we have been having a lot of fun, and I've become pretty comfortable in the water. I can swim to the other side and back really easily. I'm relaxed when I'm treading water. I can even swim about halfway across the river completely underwater. But today, I almost forgot about all that comfort. Today I felt fear because today was the day Uncle Jake wanted me to jump off the bridge into the water. I thought it was going to be just another day of swimming. We got down to the river, started swimming around, doing what we've been doing. Then Uncle Jake called me over to the sandy little beach by the riverbank. I swam over, kind of showing off my skills. When I stood up, he said, 'Today's the day.' I wasn't quite sure what he was talking about. 'What day?' I asked. 'The bridge,' he said, as he nodded towards the huge bridge that spans the river. For some reason, and I can't explain why, I went into panic mode. 'The bridge?' I thought. 'The bridge?' It was tall, and even though I was comfortable in the water, when I thought about jumping from the bridge and landing in the water, I don't know, it just completely freaked me out. So I decided that maybe today wasn't a good day for the bridge, and I tried to make it into no big deal. I think I'd rather just swim today, Uncle Jake. We could do the bridge jump next time.' As I finished my sentence, I started actually turning around towards the river like I was going to keep on swimming. 'Hey,' said Uncle Jake sharply and quickly. I tried to ignore him for another half second. 'Hey!' barked Uncle Jake, this time louder and with more force, a force I knew I couldn't ignore anymore. I turned around and faced him. You're going off that bridge today,' he said in a matter-of-fact way, the way that means Uncle Jake is 100% set in his mind, and his mind will not change. But I couldn't help myself from trying to change it anyway. 'It's okay, Uncle Jake. I'm just going to swim today. I'll go off the bridge.' 'That's not okay,' Jake cut me off. 'You're going off that bridge today.' I knew that arguing was useless. Once Uncle Jake had made up his mind, there was no reasoning with him. And more importantly, I knew deep inside that he was right. I was ready to jump off the bridge. I was just terrified. Okay, I told Uncle Jake, trying to seem cool about the whole situation, as I slowly started walking up the bank of the river towards the bridge. 'I'll watch you from down here,' said Uncle Jake. 'Okay,' I said softly. I kept walking, and with each step I took, I got more and more terrified about the jump. Time started to slow down. I don't even know why I was so scared, but I was. Finally, I got to the spot on the bridge where I was supposed to jump. I looked over the edge. How did the river get so far down? Okay, let's go, Mark, Uncle Jake shouted up to me. I couldn't even respond. I just stood there. Go ahead, Mark, jump. I still couldn't say anything. But I stepped up over the little fence along the side of the bridge and shuffled towards the edge where I was supposed to jump from. I looked straight ahead and was really thinking of doing it. Then I looked down and I got overwhelmed and scared, and I just stood there. What's the issue, Mark? Uncle Jake yelled up at me. I didn't know what to say. What's wrong? He asked again, louder. I just sat there on the little wall along the edge of the bridge. Then I saw Uncle Jake walking up towards me, obviously coming to either yell at me or throw me off. Pardon me, guys. Sometimes we've got people that call during story hour. It's not good. Where was I at? Then I saw Uncle Jake walking up toward the bridge, obviously coming to either yell at me or throw me off. But when he got up next to me, he didn't yell at all. Come to think of it, Uncle Jake hardly ever yelled. We still got that phone call. He didn't yell at me at all. Come to think of it, Uncle Jake hardly ever yells. What's going on, buddy? He said in a calm voice. I don't know, I said. I'm just. You're afraid, aren't you? Uncle Jake asked. But he wasn't even asking. He knew. He knew I was scared. There was no point in denying it. Uncle Jake knew it as plain as day. Yes, I finally said in a quiet tone, embarrassed that I was afraid. Then, to my surprise, Uncle Jake said, That's normal. What? I responded, shocked at Uncle Jake's statement. I said, That's normal. You are doing something you've never done before, so it's normal to be a little hesitant. It's called fear. It's a normal emotion, and it's okay. Then he added, Well, it's okay as long as you can control it. This made no sense to me. How am I supposed to control fear? And how would you know? You're not afraid of anything. Uncle Jake sat quietly for a minute. Then he said, I wish that were true. What do you mean? I asked him. Well, you said I'm not afraid of anything. And that is just not true. Fear is normal. In fact, fear is good. Fear is what warns you when things are dangerous. Fear is what makes you prepare. Fear keeps us out of a lot of trouble. So there is nothing wrong with fear. But fear can also be overwhelming. It can be unreasonable. It can cause you to freeze up and make bad decisions or hesitate when you need to act. So you have to learn to control fear. And that's what you need to do right now. Okay, that sounds great, and I would really love to make you happy and overcome my fear, but I don't know how. Uncle Jake thought about what I just asked him for a few seconds, and then he said, Okay, well, the first part of controlling your fear you have already done, and that is preparation. You have done plenty of preparation to be ready for this moment, to face this fear, starting with dunking your head all the way up to swimming all around and back and forth across this river. You have done little jumps off the riverbank. All of the last several weeks you have been preparing for this, the jump. And all that preparation work to help overcome the fear. Imagine how scared you would be if you still didn't know how to swim. you would be horrified. But you have prepared. Then why am I still scared? I asked Uncle Jake. Simple, he said, because there is still an element of the unknown. You have never jumped off anything this high before, so you don't know what it feels like. People are afraid of what they know or they don't understand. But you have prepared. You know it is safe. You know you are ready. It's just this last little bit of fear that has to be overcome. And you know how you do that? I have no idea, I told him. You go. Just go? I asked Uncle Jake, now partly thinking he was just joking. Yes, you just go. You see, fear lives in the moment, that powerful moment between when you decide you're going to do something and when you do it. Once you go, once you start, you won't be afraid anymore. You overcome the fear by going. And it is the same in many aspects of life. Parachuting, talking in front of a crowd, taking a test, running a race, competing in jiu-jitsu. The fear is in the waiting. So, once you have prepared and trained and studied and planned, there is only one thing left to do. Go. And that's it? Yep, that's it. As soon as Jake finished these words, he stood up, looked at me, yelled out, "Hoo-yah!" and jumped off the bridge. Just go, I thought to myself. I stood up, stepped up onto the wall, and looked down at Uncle Jake, who had just come back to the surface and was looking up at me with a big smile on his face. With all my heart and lungs, I yelled out, "Hoo-yah!" and I stepped off the edge of the bridge, past my fear and into the unknown. I felt myself falling for a while, and then, whoosh, I was in the water. I came to the surface and had a great big smile on my face. "I can fly," I yelled. "I can fly." Uncle Jake laughed and got out and ran up and jumped again, and I followed him without hesitation. Then we did it again and again and again. And the fear, it was gone. All I had to do was prepare and get ready, and then I just had to take the first step. Go. There is something I should add here. In the book, Mark just jumps off this tall bridge. In actuality, and that's important for the story, but in actuality, jumping from a good height into the water requires some technique, because if you just jump, what happens a lot of the time is you fall, you start to lean forward, and instead of going in feet first, you end up in a belly flop. And a belly flop hurts even when it's only from 3 or 4 feet up. But if you were 20 feet up, it could be really a problem. It could hurt yourself. So until someone actually teaches you how to jump off of something high into the water, don't do it. Okay? All right. Well, I think that's enough for today. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow.